Yeah, yeah. All right, so I'm here in a real guitar lesson, and I have no plan, but I'm here with Tommy, and people have been saying, oh, all you put is these goofy little kids in your videos, and granted, they're the funniest to do, but this is a brass tacks, real guitar lesson. Tommy, my friend Tommy here, that I've been teaching, has progressed amazingly, and he was just saying that he had a super busy week, didn't get to work on a lot of stuff, so we're going to kind of just pick his brain on where his thought process is, and I think a lot of people are going to relate to that, all right? There he is, Tommy G.
All right, thank you. So...
No pressure, you're on film.
So, one of the things is that we went over the Mixolydian and the Dorian and also the minor pentatonic, so I was wondering if today you could maybe do a loop of something, maybe a comp or something, where you could say, I'm doing, this is the Mixolydian, now I'm going to go into the Dorian, and now I'm going to, and kind of explain to me how it's all going to come together for me so I can watch the video.
Do separate progressions that are for each of those scales?
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure, that's a good idea.
Okay.
And then you plug it in.
Exactly.
And then you can practice.
That's my thought.
And then I'll make the, I'll use your looper.
Perfect.
At the end, but
Perfect.
then I'll just talk. So let's here, cameraman. It's pretty high tech. I gotta say. Okay, so I like the pentatonic scales. Because if you have a sweet major progression, you plug in the major pentatonic. If you have a more minor rockin' progression, you plug in the minor pentatonic. Right.
Right.
That's one approach.
Right.
And then also, you can add half steps to those major and minor pentatonic shapes to get the major and minor modes. So even if you have a really good grip on the pentatonics first, you can turn those into the modes by adding the half steps. But that's just one of many approaches. Just like a songwriter has, approach like, today I'm going to write a song because I have these lyrics written down. Tomorrow I'm going to write a piece of music and then write the lyrics next, and the next day something happened to me and it inspired a song. There's different approaches, and the more of those you have, the more versatile you can be. So right off the bat, we had the pentatonic stuff going, but then also we've been learning just these 7-note scale shapes. One of which would be Mixolydian, like A Mixolydian. There is a major pentatonic under that. Just to point that out. But so that Mixolydian shape's always going to be over a 7 chord. So the most common things you're going to see when you're using that Mixolydian is a dominant 7 chord. But the thing is, you can turn that into a more bluesy sound by thinking of blues licks too, and that's a whole, that's a 2 DVD set, really. Pluck. Combination. But this just 7-note Mixolydian scale is always over that 7 chord. So, if you saw someone and they're playing a, B7, and that was the thing, that Mixolydian is the notes of the chord, really, So you're going to see that a lot. It's a 7 chord. It's always Mixolydian. But in rock and roll music, you can use the blues and pentatonics and all that. But really, the notes that are right for a 7 chord, a dominant 7 chord, is Mixolydian. Okay. So no matter what. So then the other thing that we see a lot in Mixolydian, and like Sublime uses it, Santana, those are just, Grateful Dead, obviously, all the jam band, all the Allman Brothers, we could cover a lot of different genres with it. A perfect melody that's Mixolydian is Lowrider.
Yes.
The harmonica part of Lowrider, that's just straight Mixolydian if I was an A. but that melody is Mixolydian. All right, so Mixolydian, one thing, dominant 7 chord, it's always at Mixolydian. But the other most common thing that will really sparkle Mixolydian is when you have 2 major chords a whole step apart in a progression. And when I was saying lowrider, that happens in lowrider, like. So then, like in reggae music, that kind of thing, you know?
Yes.
It's great sound. 2 major chords like that. Blues Traveler. I don't know if you heard Blues Traveler. That kind of thing. Fire on the Mountain, Grateful Dead. Fire on the Mountain. You know, Sublime. We took a trip to Garden Grove. Blah, 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 Mixolydian. That's the melody of Mixolydian. You know, it's that sound. It's a good sound. It's like my favorite sound. Like when you hear those notes, it's like kind of got a bluesiness, but also that major bluesy sound to it. So if I have a G major and an A major, even if I start with G major and go up to A major, or have A major and go down to G major, it's the higher major chords Mixolydian scale.
Okay.
Always. So if I have it's just the higher one of those 2 major chords is that one. Okay. That chord's Mixolydian. Those are the two most common Mixolydian situations. The other thing that you can do with Mixolydian is if you have even if you're talking about a blues, blues in A, A7, D9 or D7, and E9, E7. You know, it's actually A Mixolydian, D Mixolydian, E Mixolydian, D Mixolydian, A Mixolydian. But no one really does that too much. But those are the right notes for each of the chords of the blues there. So if you get little spatterings, which we've talked about before with the arpeggios, those arpeggios come from Mixolydian. So that's another approach is actually knowing Mixolydian in different positions well enough to play over each of those changes. But that's going to be more of a jazz approach. But basically, anytime you have a dominant 7, it's that roots Mixolydian scale is the most correct.
Okay.
But we usually approach it pentatonic wise. That's the sound that we hear the most.